Yo, 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 what up, golf fans? My name is Joe Idoni. At Tour Picks is the place you can find me on X, and you've stumbled your way into a weekly meeting called the Preferred Lines Golf Gambling Club. We're here to cover the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson, weird name. Like, I don't know how those two go together. Where does tournament fall into place? Who really knows? We're going to talk about it. We'll talk about Zurich. We'll talk about Adelaide just here in a few seconds. Welcome to Preferred Lines.
Well, 9-iron for him. They're going to go nuts when he hits this thing.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Energy. I'm going to bring it through the dog days of the PGA Tour season. We've made it to the halfway point. I got a guest in just a second. We'll do a nice little cheers. We'll try to bring some life into this event that I know you all need out there. Before we get started with the show, once again, thank you for joining Preferred Lines. If you are new to the show, if you want to hop on over to the YouTube channel, that's where you can jump in the comments. Leave any sort of questions, anything you want to drop in there. I like to bring that up on the show and wave hello to me and my buddy BC here in a second. The promo code that you need to know to support the show is LINES. That's LINES. If you want to join the Rotoballer team, there it is, running across the bottom. They proudly present this show. The good people over there have been huge supporters of mine. I do 4 articles a week from there, actually 5 technically, because I will repost the launching long shots video. 2 of those are up right now, completely free of charge. My top 10 players to watch at the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, as well as a course preview for TPC Craig Ranch. Everything you need to know in those 2 articles, completely free. But if you want to join the team, get access to the Discord. I've hit my last 5 matchup bets. We're hot. We're on fire. We leveraged Russ Cochran last week to another winner. We'd love to have you over there. Thanks to the Rotoballer team, as always. Now, welcoming back to the program for his 3rd or 4th time, a good friend of mine. Met him at this place, Pussers. Is it Pussers or Pussers? We'll get the confirmation here in a second up in Jacksonville. I promise it's not a strip club. It's a nice little sports bar right outside of TPC Sawgrass. Welcome back to the show, Boston Capper. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? What's going on? Yeah, it's Pussers. It's Pussers, and it's not a strip club. It's a cool little seafood spot right outside of TPC. So it's a good spot to go get some cheap drinks, which are tough to find in Ponte Vedra.
Okay, don't get me canceled on YouTube for saying Pussers.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna go with Pussers. What's up? How are you? How's the golf gambling pod? What do you guys got planned this week? I miss you. I miss Steve, man. Let's talk some golf.
So Steve is actually coming back from a vacation, so he's taking a pause. I'm having he was supposed to be back, but he ran into a snafu. So I'm gonna get somebody tomorrow night. Maybe CP. He was supposed to come on something else. If not, I'll have Cam on, and we'll break it down. Finally, a decent golf tournament because I hated last week. I never liked the Valero ever, and yeah, listen. At least this is a stroke.
Zurich, you mean? You don't like the team format?
No, I hate it.
Okay. Do you think you logged more minutes? Let's get right into it. Logged more minutes watching the Zurich or Live Adelaide last week?
Oh, Live. It wasn't even close. Like I watched them Thursday, like just some sweats for first round leader and some matchups. But other than that, I was done. Like I watched some of it at the golf course yesterday at the 19th hole. Right, watched the playoff and then left.
It was far more intriguing, far more interesting to me, Live. But you run into this thing, right? Like, obviously, they're thirsty for professional golf. You had a great field there, but what percentage do you think are in professional golf that are in America? Because the timing is hard. Like, I'd much rather watch that than whatever the Zurich was, but I felt myself probably, if you calculated the minutes and stopwatch both, I probably watched more of the Zurich, an event that I'm less interested in just because it's a familiar golf spot in timing wise. For me, it's easier to pay attention to in the middle of the day. And it's weird because if I'm doing that, someone who is deeply connected and interested in Live Adelaide, the average golf fan is going to tune into the Zurich. They're going to tune into the CJ Cup. They're not watching Singapore. They're not watching Australian golf. So, like, I wonder, everyone's sort of on the PGA Tour like they should have been doing this for years. I don't know that if they were in Australia, they would get that much better numbers from a viewership than they got at the Zurich, because it's just hard for people to train people to watch golf in the middle of the night, and that's their core audience.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, just look at the ratings altogether this year, right? Like, I know everybody wants to say it's streaming numbers, but guess what? Everybody streamed last year too. So I don't want to hear that excuse. Everybody's been streaming for years. But yeah, you're right. Listen, so I'm a night owl, and even me, it's hot. Like, I go to bed, midnight, right around midnight, maybe even later some nights. And I tried staying up, at least even on Friday night, and I was like, nope, can't make it. Like, fell asleep, woke up, saw that all my bets were dead, and I was like, well, that's fun. Thanks, Cam. But yeah, and what sucked about that is I love the golf course, love Aussies going nuts, obviously. But I feel like they had the same problem that PGA has most weeks. I don't want to see Brendan Steele win a golf tournament. I just don't want to see it. Like,
I know. And the thing is their team stuff is still so muddied. And they had it was the best case scenario you could ever envision for their team golf format was the all Australian team at Adelaide playing against like the team of the South Africans, which are predominantly, so you have some sort of nationalistic ties there. But it's still like, I don't know, man. I didn't play high school golf. I never really followed college golf. I don't connect it with a team sport. Like, to me, it's like swimming at the Olympics. Like, they're all doing their own thing. They're ultimately trying to win individually, and by doing so, it sort of helps the team by second nature. Like gymnastics, they're all trying to win. It's an individual sport, and they're competing individually. But something I thought was kind of cool, like watching the end of Zurich, actually, is when you throw in the wrinkle of alternate shot, it actually does feel a little bit like team golf. Like, there were moments down the stretch where Rory was like lifting up Shane Lowry like a good teammate would do when you make a bad play, and you have to work together. You have to think together. It's not simply just about the camaraderie of being fellow Australians. You really have to work toward a common goal and like sort of propel one another in ways, lift each other up in moments, be a good teammate, versus there's really none of that in the best ball, or there's really none of that in live. They have no idea what their teammates are doing. And at the end of the day, if they shoot the best combined score, it is what it is. But it just lacks, like, calling it team golf for me is still a point where I struggle with as someone who played team sports my whole life.
Same. I'm exactly the same. You're right. Listen, alternate shot is fun to watch. I just think it's such a bad spot in the schedule. It always has like dog shit fields. Like, I mean, look at the leaderboard, -25, a bunch of bums, and like then Rory and Shane, of course, they're head and shoulders above these guys. And so I don't know. And I think the golf course sucks. So
at Zurich, you think it sucks?
It just Yeah. I don't like this golf course either, but whatever. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not a golf course architecture snob. It's just the shit that Steve rubs off on me. But yeah, look, alternate shot's great. I love match play. I wish they'd get rid of this bullshit and bring back match play. Like, that was fun, and I get why it sucks on Sunday because they only have two groups going, and it's tough for the advertisers, blah, blah, blah. Figure it out. Run some secondary tournament where money goes to charity or something. Get more golfers on the course. You guys can figure it out. If I can think about it and scribble it down on a cocktail napkin in an hour, you guys can figure it out.
I didn't even watch match play this week. Like, you give me this field in match play somehow, and like I'm intrigued by Taylor Montgomery versus Siwoo Kim, and like these different matchups that you could potentially get. I want to see it as well. But obviously, this best case scenario for the Zurich was Rory and Shane winning. Martin Schrader, like, what an abomination of a playoff hole where they couldn't make par on the easiest par 5 was absolutely outrageous. But they sort of saved that event for another year because now they're going to come back. They've built in some sort of character to the event with what they did sort of, post round, and the singing and that kind of stuff is something that people will get fired up for. Last year, if they end up going head to head with Live Adelaide, which is a smart move for Live to pair it up with the week of the Zurich, it seemed like this was a possibility where they could build momentum and add some character and add some sort of something to root for. Like Rory and Shane, you want to an equally good team is Xander and Cantlay. They have zero pop. I don't care about them playing the Zurich whatsoever. They're supposedly like best friends, best man at each other's.
You never know it on the.
Do they even like each other?
Yeah, you would never know on the golf course. There's no breaking balls. There's no high fives. There's no nothing. Like
You can't
those
like
guys are heroes.
what Rory and Shane gave us with the hugs and the carrying and like the interview
Yep.
sections were
Oh, yeah.
something that I don't think any other team in the field, and maybe in all of golf, could potentially match for that event. So it was huge for them in that sense.
Yeah. And look, I dump on Rory, all the time. I've kind of lightened up on him since Moynihan chucked him under the bus and he kind of got screwed under that whole situation. I love Shane Lowry. Listen, I won a bunch of money on them on the Ryder Cup because Zach Johnson's a moron and I knew it. So I love to see my Irish brethren win and sing. And because look, I mean, in reality, think about all the golfers who are gone or the Europeans. They're all the guys with the personalities. Hatton's gone. Rahm doesn't even have that big of a personality, but he was considered a personality on PGA Tour because he had a temper. Like everybody else is just the country club stock swing, same backstory, boring ass shit. Like, give me somebody with a better backstory, swings funny. That's why Scotty should be good, right? Like, he's a country club, like, spoon-fed rich kid, too, but his swing's cool. You know what I mean? His feet go crazy, but his personality is a 0-2. And it's like, man, guys, give me somebody to root for. Give me somebody. This is like the Mike Trout version of MLB, right? He's the greatest player of our generation, and nobody, you could trip over Mike Trout, you wouldn't know who he is because they don't pump him up, right? He's got no personality. So this league, player association, whatever you want to call it, needs to figure out who to put in front to get younger eyeballs on this. Baseball is making a change. If baseball can make a change, all these old crotchety white guys who never wanted to change anything, like baseball can do it, golf can do it. Figure it out. It's a great sport. COVID was the best thing that ever happened to golf. I've never seen golf courses more full, and they are just tripping over their own dick, for lack of a better term, and not being able to do it.
Yeah, it's like, give me something other than just the golf to root for you for. Like, the personality of a Shane Lowry and even a Rory, in a sense, can sometimes be endearing to me. Like, sometimes I'll get frustrated because I think that he's a flip-flopper, like a latest flip-flop exhibit 25A. He goes back to the policy board. Like, he can't stop with that, but he at least will give you like something outside the game to root for, because I do think he's a good person. I think he's like enjoyable to listen to and thoughtful in his responses, whether it's with the media or in interviews, that it makes him compelling. Like, I don't want 100 Peter Millars. Like, they're all might as well be named Peter Millar out there.
For real. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Like, it's some of the guys, like, so what's funny is like people were shitting on Malnati for winning, but man, what a cool. Like, listen, I got my money snatched.
Kids, like,
but
that's the thing. Even with Scotty, like, I don't want to say, I probably shouldn't say this, but I would say I'm not a spiritual person in the sense that most people would box into like a spiritual person. Like, I am spiritual in how I think, but I'm not overly religious. That gives him something different. It shows that it's not like his life and his meaning. There is something to him and his personality outside of just being a good golfer. And like, there's not a ton of guys at the top of that list you can really say that their identity is not 100% centered around, being a top 10 professional golfer in the world, which I sort of give him, a lot of credit for. I wanted to ask you before we leave Live, the Anthony Kim stuff, like, is the luster completely gone with this? He finished dead last again. If you're a Live player and you're on that tour, a Hudson Swafford, a Kevin Na who blew up this week, a Danny, like, are you kind of annoyed that he's there? Like, does it delegitimize the tour if they have like it? Does it give it sort of a even more so of like the feel of this is like a traveling circus act and everyone come and pay to see like the bearded lady, which at this point is Anthony Kim?
Yeah, I mean, when you put it like that, yes, and I drive Steve nuts with it. I bet him top 20 every Live event just to kind of piss Steve off. Just because, listen, I love the fact that he came back. I loved his honest interview talking about the trappings of money in your 20s without having people you can trust around you. Yeah. The screw ups that can happen. And look, I probably have more sympathy than some other people. I've made a lot of mistakes when I made money early on in life, and I paid for them, just like he did. And I'd like to see the Phoenix from the ashes story, right? That being said, his golf is not in the place it needs to be on any professional tour. And the way you said it was good. Like, the traveling circus, come see the bearded lady, come see the guy who used to be awesome. I imagine that's going to eat at Michael too, right? Like, it's gotta be like, oh, am I this clown? Like, I don't know. I can't imagine it's good for his psyche either. Good for him to get in the bag. But yeah, I I think they gotta cycle him out with some other people after the season. They just have to.
Listen, there's no secret. I've dealt with some demons before too, and had some moments that I wish I could have back. But I didn't feel, and maybe this is improper reading of the situation for me, but that sit down with David Faraday felt fake to me. Like
Really?
it felt like he sort of accepted some accountability, but he didn't really tell the story. Like he kind of hid the parts that we really wanted to hear about. Like, what happened to your money? What happened with the settlement? Talk about the drugs, man. Talk about it. We know you had a serious problem and were addicted to drugs. You won't say it. You'll say you were with some bad. Like, if you want to be open and honest, and you want people to take you seriously and give you this rise from the ashes scenario that we all really secretly want to root for in everyone, like, strip it down and give us the truth. Like, it just felt like there was like pre-written, and maybe it was Liv sort of pushing him.
That's what I was going to throw back at it. That's what I was going to say. Like, listen, he probably would have said more, but I can't imagine with a ruling body like that. Let me put it that way. Who's just like, we think we got conservatives in this country, right? Yeah. Never mind over there, right? What they're going to allow him to say and speak, and have a face on their tour. You know,
that's a good point. Yeah, and I know he's got his own documentary coming out, which I'm sure he'll get a little bit more into that stuff. Okay, so before we switch gears to this week, man, I was so shockingly disappointed in something happened in the week that I was away, something I've been waiting for months. Okay. I really want this thing to work, Capper. I wish the TGL were a little more serious about their shit. I'm going to pull up now for the people who are watching on YouTube, the Jupiter Links video. This bothered me so bad. This. I want this to be my team, dude. Let's just watch this. Let's break this video down for a minute. Indulge me. Right. More than a game. Okay. I can tell you, as someone who lives in Florida, the opening scene here, that's not Florida. Okay. Opening scene here, that is not Florida. That's some sort of AI. More than a game. Okay. It's a way of life. Scene 2, Act 2. It's a Way of Life is clearly someone that went to the beach at sunrise and put a pin flag onto the beach. That's not a golf course.
Right?
Not a golf course.
No, not a golf course.
It's a Way of Life. Scene 3. So this is a stolen clip here from Tiger and Bridgestone that we've all probably seen a million times. They stole this. Totally stole.
This is like a bad white girl's Instagram.
The sands. And the vibrant energy. Is that a parasailer? What is that? Kite surfing?
Yeah, I think it's a parasailer. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, the video's terrible. That's enough of the video for now.
Yeah. So Boston one had a terrible one too. Like it's awful.
I know. No one's doing it right. And this is freaking Tiger Woods' team. This is going on ESPN. This is going on ESPN every Monday night starting in January. They have a deal with Tiger Woods and ESPN, and this is the low budget bullshit they put out. Jupiter Links doesn't make sense. You've got 100 guys that live in South Florida to choose from. You chose one to put on the team that was the obvious guy.
Yeah.
Tom Kim lives in Dallas. Max Homa lives in Scottsdale. Kisner's a Georgia guy. None of it from start to finish is adding up, and I want this thing to work. And I selfishly want this thing to work because I live 5 minutes from where this thing is going to be played every week. So I, for a multitude of reasons, I would love for it to be successful. And this feels worse than the rollout. I don't want to say worse. It's equally as bad as the rollout of some of the Live stuff. And I think it takes just as long to catch on. We're 2.5 years into Live, and this was the first compelling team tournament this past weekend, going to the playoff that I can even remember. If it takes 2.5 years for this thing to sort of hit home, it's already dead. It can't work at that point. They've got to hit it from the beginning, and to have someone like AI create a video that's 30. Max Homa didn't even tweet it. He's on the team. He, like Capper, Max is so self-aware and funny that he had to be fucking embarrassed about this to he like, you think these guys are laughing at this? Like, I'm on the fucking Jupiter Lakes and this is where I'm fueled by the vibrant energy of the sun and the sand. Max Homa.
It is very
barely
gross.
even got a retweet from him. It's gotten like 350 likes. It's terrible. This is Tiger's team. What are we doing with this league, man?
So here's the deal, right? I mean, you've played simulators, right? Like, obviously, there's going to be some steroided version, right? But I don't particularly enjoy it. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's nice when it's 120 degrees down here. It's fucking raining. But I think it's going to almost. So there's two factors, right? So I feel like the first couple events are going to be like when the original XFL came out when we were teenagers, right? Yeah. And everybody wanted to see it, what it was. He hate me. Everybody was talking about it. And then like the ratings just fell off a cliff after like the third or fourth week because the product wasn't compelling, right? Yeah. So I would say that could have the same fate as this, except for the fact that it does have Tiger Woods attached to it. And when I was at the Masters, we're degenerate and we're the special type of golf people who are like deep in the weeds with this shit. Your typical golf fan was only there to see Tiger. Like that's all they wanted to do. Like it was insane. Like I timed my my going to buy all my gear around Tiger. I was like, dude, I bet you if we go when Tiger tees off, we walked in. Everybody was following Tiger. It was crazy.
Dude, the thing is he's so careful about every aspect of his public relations, and he has a team around him as adept as any player in any sport in terms of what passes by his desk.
Yep.
How did this get through his team to release this video, this cringeworthy 50-second video with like half the clips aren't even on a golf course, and they're talking about the beauty of team golf. Like there's people kite surfing. I don't understand how this can be a $1 billion league that he's the face of. This is his franchise team, and this was how they launched it.
I wonder if it's a little bit of Tom Brady disease, right? So like I watched Tom Brady do this too, right? He had this very carefully crafted image, never said anything forever. All of a sudden he's hooked up with this snake oil salesman, Alex Guerrero, and now he's rolling out these like cringy TB12, coming out with his own clothing line, like $5,000 mattresses, and everybody's like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, where did this come from? Now we cycled back a little bit. Now he's kind of gone away from that. But when that happened, that's what we were all like. We were like, dude, how did this get by you? Like, what are you pitching? Like, what are you talking about? $400 granola bar. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, so we're at the halfway point in the season. I think this is event number 18, Capper. Give me, and I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't prepare you at all for this question, but give me like a hot take for the remainder of the season that you have. I'll start with mine so you can think about it for a second. I don't think Scotty wins another major.
Oh, motherfucker, that's what I was going to say.
So I don't know. I don't really have a great reason why. I think having a child can throw a huge wrinkle in the remainder of the season, especially when he's spoken pretty openly about his priorities.
Yep.
And I think he's already got that box checked off. I think that people betting him to win all 4 majors have lost sight of the plot and how hard professional golf is. And that's the reality of the recency that we're in right now with Nelly and with Scotty completely dominating. But this is not this is not sustainable. This is not real. Everything I know about watching every golf tournament for the last 12 years tells me that this is going to come to an end, and it's not going to come to a head-on crash where it completely explodes. No. He's going to finish 4th. Like it's golf. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right. And so it's funny you brought up the kid thing and talked about what his priorities were prior. And I was talking to I don't know. I remember who I was talking to, but talking off the ledge that Scotty was going to win everything. I was like, I don't feel like he's a guy who's going to hire like a 24/7 nanny. I feel like he's going to want to be involved with his kid, right? So he's going to go through probably not the same shit, obviously, that we went through as new dads, right? Like worrying about, checking the crib every 20 minutes, making sure it's breathing, and things like that. He's going to go through all that. And so, and having a kid absolutely changes your perspective. Like, never mind, being married and he has his faith to kind of lean back on. Having a kid is completely life-changing, completely changes everything about you. Like, it really does. Like, I know it sounds corny to anybody out there who doesn't have kids, but it's true. I was an asshole 20-year-old when I had my first daughter, and she completely changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely going to change things, especially the timing of when it's coming in, which could be potentially right between like 2 of the majors there. Yep. It's just going to throw off your preparation a little bit. It's going to throw off your focus a little bit, which is natural. It's nothing that's bad. He'll be fine this time next year. And I think that he has more majors that'll be completely on the table for him. But I just think that there's other players who will be a little bit more locked in potentially than him trying to make another run. Let's we're 25 minutes in. What do you say we get to a little bit of the ranch that is Craig's this week? TPC Craig Ranch. Here's some of my course notes on it. We'll go over it. Neither of us love this event. It's probably the most nondescript and unmemorable course that's on the PGA Tour schedule. Second straight week, interestingly, that we've had a 20-year-old TPC course that was built in 2004 in the South host a PGA Tour event. TPC Louisiana was of course open in 2004 as well. This one, however, under the catalog of Tom Weiskopf. It has the legacy of Byron Nelson, which is kind of weird because that name has bounced around like a tumbleweed in Texas through different venues from Los Colinas to Trinity Forest. And now it landed here 4 years ago. If it wasn't for his name attached to this event and being in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where a lot of these players live, the field would be about half as good. That's where they're getting all the good players. It's ranked one of the top 5 easiest courses on tour. Its defining feature is the Rowlett Creek, which sort of meanders through like 14 holes on the golf course. After Cage Lee freaking torched this place to like mid-20s under par. Last year, they said, let's change one of the par 5s to a par 4. So they moved the 12th hole and made that a par 4. This is one of the notes I have here is this is the easiest front 9 you will see on any course the entire season on the PGA Tour. So if you're maybe something to keep in mind, if you're live betting and they start sort of staggered on the back 9, the front 9's outrageously easy. There are 3 par 4s that are under like 430. On the final round last Sunday, every single hole but one played under par. The 452-yard second hole was only 0.02 over par. 8 of the other holes under par. That one was basically even. Back to bent grass greens this week, large in size, relatively flat. Like the only defense this place potentially has to play against elite professional players is if the Texas winds pick up, which makes the greens a little bit harder. Sort of longer, I guess, on the approach side, 175 to 250 range. You're going to get 46 to 50% of your shots from that range. So 7-iron to 4-iron, got to hit those clubs proficiently. And a lot of players are going to hit them from 8 to 20 feet on the greens. The difference maker, who makes those putts? Who's making 14 footers? And that stroke, like you can have, everyone's going to have 15-foot putts. The guys that roll that in are going to score significantly better. And that's, as we know, one of the toughest things to predict, which sort of heightens this, like, what the hell are we doing here? Like type feeling for this event. Last 3 winners, KH Lee, Jason Day. You got anything to add there, buddy?
No, I mean, that's about it. I think the only hot hole is, I don't remember if it's 17 or 16. There's one on the final stretch that like plays kind of hard.
Yeah, the last hole, 18th, is a stupid easy par 5. The 17th, I think, is like 130 yards. It's like a short par 3.
So it's gotta be 16 then.
I think it's 16 then. Yeah, that's insanely.
But like we said, look, it's so nondescript. I mean, it doesn't matter. You have one hole, one hard.
I don't remember one hole. Don't remember one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I think I got lucky with TPC Lee on the second one. I either got him on the first or the second one. I can't remember which one it was.
With TPC Lee?
Yeah, TPC Lee. That's like I just lucked. Like I'll play him top 20 when it was coming in garbage form. Finished what? 55th, 60th last time he came, but
yeah, he held off. So he held off Brooks the first year by 1, and then beat Spieth by 1 the next year. So like a couple of big names, Cage Lee slayed on that leaderboard, and then Jason Day edged Siwoo Kim in this event last year. One of the things I remember is Jason Day only won by 1 and had to shoot the lowest score of any player on Sunday. So Siwoo and Jason Day both went nuclear that Sunday. I think he was 9 under par on Sunday, Jason Day, which was the lowest of any player to ultimately win, which doesn't feel like that always happens. It feels like a lot of Sundays are just like hanging on, 4 or 5 under par. But he really went out there and like took this victory and was his first PGA Tour win in, I believe, 5 years. So.
Ever. Yeah, I had Siwoo, so I was not happy with Mr. Day winning. I know lots of people were, but I was not.
Had Siwoo as well. All right, let's look at the board, see who we got. The betting board. We've got Jordan Spieth at 16-1. He's your favorite this week. Defending champion Jason Day is 20-1. Siwoo Kim, that you just mentioned, who finished second, 22-1. Will Zalatoris, 22-1. Adam Scott, 25. Alex Noren, 25. Minwoo, 28. Sungjae Im, 28. Those are all the players sub 30-1. So your favorites this week to win the CJ Cup, Byron Elf. Such a weird freaking name.
Weird board, man.
The CJ Cup or Byron. I don't even know how to word it, but just sticking those four words together doesn't work.
No,
who do you got, man? Who do you like at the top?
So here's the deal. I've been wanting to bet Adam Scott. So when I was at Augusta, I was over by the practice green.
Yeah.
And I watched 10, 15 guys come through and do their routine, and no one amazed me as much as Adam Scott. Dude, I can't even tell you what he was doing. Like, everything was going in the cup from everywhere. I was like, how does this guy ever lose a golf tournament? Like, I was astounded. It was amazing. Like,
on the green or on the range?
On the range. On the range and on the practice range. Yeah. Just chipping everywhere. Coming out of the sand everywhere. The farthest he was like 3 feet. And the problem is I don't think around the green matters here. So I don't think I'm going to bet him this week. But I really don't know how he loses a golf tournament. It was the most impressive practice display I've ever seen. So, and I'm not betting Spieth. He's a roller coaster. If anything, up top, I'd probably go Siwoo. I'm never a Noren guy. I don't think Will Z wins something that goes 25 under. If I haven't bet Siwoo yet, but if I was going to bet anybody at the top of the board, it'd be Siwoo.
Okay. Not betting Spieth at that number. Not betting Day. He's been playing terribly, and he actually was in decent form heading into that win last year. Siwoo's number's too short. I like Adam Scott. I was hoping for him somewhere in the 35 to 40 range, and maybe he was there this morning, and I just potentially missed it. But
Buddy, Hard Rock still doesn't even have fucking numbers out.
I know. They're embarrassing. Adam Scott, though, I had this tweet a couple of weeks ago. We had the Valero has won every PGA Tour tournament that has been held in the state of Texas. And then people quickly got in the comments and told me, yeah, but none of them have been in the last 10 years, which is true. I can't dispute that, but he's won this event before. I don't know which course. I think it was in the Los Colinas days over there at the Ritz. Yeah. But he's playing fantastic. He's settled into this broomstick putter. Really, he's a top 10 putter in the field, man.
It's wild, isn't it?
It used to be his absolute weakness, and now it seems like as he's become this really great, consistent putter, the ball striking has slipped a little bit, which felt like it was impossible that ball striking could ever slip for someone who swung a club like Adam Scott, but it has. I haven't taken any of these guys. Will Zalatoris is so you buy into the narrative that you don't think he can get to you don't feel good about him getting to potentially 20 under par. Like, scoring was a little tougher last year that they made one of the par, still super easy, but it just seems like you're going to stick him with Adam Scott, who hasn't won it. You're going to Alex Noren, Siwoo Kim, like even Jason Day. Like, Will Zalatoris is a lot better than Jason Day.
He's better than Jason Day. I'll give you that. But if you give me the choice between Will Zalatoris and Adam Scott, I'm taking Adam Scott all day long. It doesn't matter what the hype is around Zalatoris. He's won one time, and
I know, you're right.
And like, it drives me nuts. I'm like, he's good, but he's won one time. You know how many one time? Peter Malnati has one more win than Will Zalatoris on the PGA Tour.
I know.
And I just that putting stroke to me is just So another thing with the betting, right? We've been doing this long enough. There's some guys that I just mentally cannot handle having money on because I just won't enjoy myself. I risk having another heart attack watching that putting stroke. Like, yeah, I'm not a big believer in him. I'm just really not. So yeah,
I guess my arguments would be that I think his talent level is there. He's got a second, a fourth, and a ninth in his last 6 starts. We know he's going to flush it with his irons. Like it's impossible for him not to. He's gained strokes on approach in all 10 tournaments he's played this season. Hasn't lost approach once. The last 6 have been better than the other ones as well. Like, he's seen a significant improvement. T9 at the Masters. The putting is still bad.
Not as bad though.
But he's, I don't know, anything to him like familiarity in Texas, maybe putting there potentially, like on these type of greens. I don't know. I mean, he was 74th at Houston and he lost 7 strokes putting. So I guess you can kind of throw that out the window, right?
Yeah, and look, I mean, I'm not gonna shit on anybody betting him because you're right. The talent should be there. I'm just not a believer in Wilsey, and you know me, bro. I'm stubborn sometimes, and sometimes I'll just dig my heels in on a take, and that'll be it.
Right. All right. I took in the next range coming up. I'll rattle off a couple of guys here, but you have Benny On, you have Tom Kim, you have Steven Yeager, Tom Hoagie, Keith Mitchell, Thomas Dietrich. These are some names. In which case I've bet 2 of them. So I took Tom Kim at 35-1 this morning. He's had 2 really good weeks with his irons in a row. I think he's gained 8 strokes total on approach in his last 2 starts. It's been better for Tom Kim. I think that he's starting to trend in the right direction. This is a little bit of a home game narrative for him too. I do feel like he's comfortable in a tournament where he starts to go really low. He's 35-1. He's all the way down here in this field, and he's a guy that's won. What does he have? 3 wins?
3 wins. Yeah,
he's got 3 wins, and he's the highest ranked. I mean, the OWGR isn't barely worth a shit, but it's something. It's calculating some sort of numbers that are indicating like how good a player is. That's the goal of the OWG. He's the highest ranked player in the field. Yeah, he's got 3 wins.
I got a 30. I got a 30. I bet him as well for everything that you said. When he's starting to round into form, you can see that confidence coming back in the kid too. Because you gotta remember that he's a kid. He's like, what is he, 21?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's a kid. So your confidence can get crushed at that age. You know, when you like you said, you identify yourself all completely about your job, and now all of a sudden something's starting to fall off. Now it's starting to come back a little bit. You know, I like Tom Kim a lot. I was happy with the 30. I would be even more happy with the 35.
Okay, cool. And the other one for me is Keith Mitchell at 40-1. I can't stop this. I'm not sure how I do it until I either just go completely broke and quit betting golf, or he finally wins a tournament. I watched a lot of him and Joel last week. Like Keith was the better player of the 2.
He's great in that event.
It's just, you can't, nobody has better form tee to green than Keith Mitchell right now. It's about making putts for him. I'm hoping that it's going to come one of those weeks, particularly when you sort out like that 175 to 250 yard range. He's extra good there. He's second in strokes gained approach. He's 4th in off the tee. He's played this event a couple of times to mediocre finishes. I wonder if one thing I thought of is like, this course is so shitty, but I'm thinking about other ones that may be like a decent comp to it. KH Lee is awesome at the Honda at PGA National. Brooks, who finished 2nd, has won at PGA National. Obviously, Keith Mitchell has won there. Adam Scott's played well at both. There are some like definite like crossovers in terms of guys. Jason Day has had really good years at the Honda as well. So there's sort of maybe a little bit of a crossover there. But Keith Mitchell, I'm just going to probably keep taking him. 14th at the Valero a few weeks ago, just flushing at tee to green. I'm going to take the 40-1 because here's the thing that I know about golf betting. I know nothing, but I know this. When you're betting a guy and he's playing great and you hop off of him one week in a shit field, he wins that tournament. So I'm not going to let it happen to me. I'm going to continue to pour dollars into a losing bet in Keith Mitchell.
Well, listen, I can't fault you for that. I got plenty of losers that I do that for as well. I looked at Keith pretty hard. I decided to go a little farther down on the board for another loser, two spots down. I was never a Mackenzie Hughes guy. I somehow randomly started betting him this year, and he's giving me multiple sweats. And so now I'm in, because I don't bet on guys who can putt typically. So this is a different experience for me. So it'll be like, okay, oh shit, he might make this 10-footer instead of being like, all right, 2 putting it out.
45-footer.
I know it's wild. And he was leading 3 weeks ago? Was it the Valero he was leading?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I was watching one.
No, it wasn't Valero. What was it? Let me try to.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. So my buddy who doesn't bet on golf was watching it, and he's like, "Oh, you're in good shape." I was like, "He's 2 strokes up, and he's Mackenzie Hughes." I was like, "I'm in no such good shape." We haven't made the turn yet. So
Valspar, that's what it was.
Yeah, Valspar.
5 straight good finishes in a row, though.
Yep, and look, he's definitely a placement bet for me as well. He's a top 10 and a win whenever I bet him. Yeah, I mean, look, the number kind of feels short for him, but this is a garbage ass field, and yeah, holy shit, did Seamus Powell get steamed all the way down to there?
Apparently.
Holy shit! So I've been betting. That's another bum I've been betting because I've been betting Seamus for years, right? Just to stay on brand with the Irish golfer thing.
Yeah.
And dude, he's cashed like some 4 and 5 to 1 top 20s for me. He's in great shape. He's got 4 top 20s the last time he's been here. I got him at 85 to 1. So I keep blind. What is that number at?
60 is the best available, but there's a ton of 50s.
I still bet it at 60. I love Seamus Power. He's another guy who struggles off the tee, but he could get it done with the putter when it gets hot. And memory serves me right. He's a pretty good bent grass putter as well.
I took an embarrassing one. And you might have just leaked it if you were watching on YouTube, but he's 125 to 1. I took Taylor Montgomery, dude. And I don't know why. He just withdrew at the Valero. Such a hot putter, and I'm just hoping that he can have. I think he plays. I'll have to confirm this with a friend of mine who knows Taylor, but I'm pretty confident that he plays a lot of golf in this area. He has that hot putter where if he can continue to hit shots to 15 feet, he'll win. This is like the mold that I'm putting Taylor Montgomery in. If the tournament finishes like 24 under par, maybe he can win one of those. Like, it's weird that I feel like I'm more inclined to take a reach on some of the guys who were hyper successful on the Korn Ferry Tour, like even Alejandro Tosti is up there.
We'll get to him.
What did the Korn Ferry event last week? Like, the guy shot 32 under.
Yeah.
Something outrageous. Like, those tournaments are you just have to go stupid low. And there's something that shifts in, I believe, your mindset when it's gas to the floor from hole 1 and you're just attacking every pin. And if you implode and you shoot your way out of it, so be it. But the only thing that really matters for Korn Ferry players is not like stacking T17s. It's going balls to the wall for a win. And like, that's the mold that I'm hoping he plays this event with. And if he misses the cut, he misses the cut. He's 125 to 1. But I think this could be a decent week where maybe we see him pop.
Okay, so I can 100% get on board with that. So you said Toasty. I bet Toasty. I'm going to be honest. I didn't have a fucking clue who this guy was up until I saw him battle Scotty. I liked what I saw. And you know me, gut handicapper. I'll use the stats to support my bias. And I just like what I saw from him. And yeah, I think 100 to 1 in this field. I mean, Jesus, dude, he missed a putt to, go to a playoff with Scotty Scheffler in a much better field than this. Yeah, I mean, like you said, and yeah, I love what you said about the Korn Ferry. Like, I never even thought of it like that. Yeah. That is 100% correct. Like, it is balls to the wall. These guys are pin hunting every single weekend. So in events like this, they should have a mental leg up, even if they don't have the course experience. But they're going against guys like, bums. Like, so what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like, these guys can probably look at them. This guy's looking at Chan Kim and saying, I can absolutely beat this guy, versus looking across and seeing JT and maybe second guessing how he's swinging and if he can compete with these guys.
Yeah. I think like when you look at some of these names down the list, it makes me sad, bro, because of like, we're almost a year now into it. And I saw a story this week where the landmark agreement was made between the 3 tours, the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour and Live. We're all coming together. And apparently they haven't even all 3 got in the room together. And it's been almost 365 days later. But on weeks like this, I'm like, do we need this event? Let's have one big tour and like, let's run the Live event this week and like put some more talent in these mid-tier guys on some of these Live teams, make those events a little bit better. Let those Live players. Here's what I think should happen. I think the PGA Tour and the tournament should be able to issue their sponsors exemptions however they want to.
100%.
So if AT&T or if Wells Fargo next week is paying for the tournament and they want to invite John Rahm and Brooks Koepka and Bryson to play in the Wells Fargo, let them in. Like, let them play.
100%. 100%.
So those guys
100%
can
agree.
that way it gives those guys an avenue to play maybe 3, 4, 5 events a year. We're able to sort of feature team golf in a different way with a little bit more depth in these off weeks, and it just gives a break in the monotony of the schedule. And I think only makes I think they shouldn't be worried about what it does to major championships, right? Because they're separate.
No,
I don't think it diminishes them
at
whatsoever.
all.
It just gives us a break, and it
Yeah.
allows, like, I don't need Kazire, Whaley, Fishburne, Silverman,
I don't
Norlander.
either.
Like I
I
just I,
don't. Yeah.
why
No,
we
I'm
got
with you.
160 guys in this field?
So I hate to bring it back to baseball, right? Because that was like my first love. But I mean, think about this also happened when we were kids. Like with the ALNL fucking mixed league. Dude, that was the biggest fucking I was like, wait a second, I get to see the Dodgers at Fenway. What? Like, blew my mind. So we're not deep enough into it where I'd be like, holy shit, I can't believe these guys are getting together. But like, yeah, let the sponsor idea is the best, because that's what they always want to say. The sponsors call it, they control everything, they control the purse strings. Well, if they control the purse strings, they should be able to invite to the party whoever they want. And I don't care what you say.
It's their freaking party. And look,
Yeah.
if it's a sponsor that is I don't know if it's like I can't think of even a good, maybe if it's like Ford or something, like a hardened American hardworking company that isn't about all the Saudi bullshit and the takeover, and they don't want them there, don't bring them there. But you think Wells Fargo cares to have Bryson? And like they ultimately, I think, let the sponsor make the moral decision, so it takes it off the shoulders of the PGA Tour. And if they want to invite these guys who took the money, whether it be blood money or whatever you want to call it, it's up to them.
I 100% agree. I think that's a great idea. I wonder why that brings me to the point. I wonder why the sponsors aren't flexing on it. I mean, if you think about it, they've already lost Honda. They're gonna lose. They lost AT&T.
Wells Fargo, this is the last year.
So like,
They're
if
out.
I was Wells Fargo, I'd be like, listen, if you want me to stick around, here are my parameters. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you need me more than I need you, Peter.
Yeah, I think the Honda, from what I know, sort of tried to pull that card where they were like, listen, we're your longest running sponsor. We want to stick around, but we want a signature event. And the tour basically said, like, no, we're not going to guarantee that. And they were like, fine, then we're fucking out of here.
Yeah.
But like these people that invested this money and this inflated value that the PGA Tour had, they have to be wondering, man, like, what are we getting ourselves into? Like, not many people are watching it. Look at these fields that we're paying for. And I don't know. It feels like something's got to happen. And I want it to happen fast.
Me too. So John Henry is one of the investors into the stupid equity program that they just rolled out. John Henry used to be one of the best owners in sports, right? Went from the Marlins, brought them to the World Series, came to Boston, brought Theo in, paid the money for the talent, with the arms race with the Yankees, payroll always on top, wanted to win. Well, now he has us, Liverpool, the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's got a NASCAR team. He's got a piece of golf. The only thing he cares about is putting people in the stands and to pay the 500 times price beer, right? Because that's where a ton of their profit margin is. They don't give a shit who comes to the door, hometown fans or somebody else's fans, as long as there's an ass in the seat. He can't be happy because this has got to be look at these numbers, like the ratings going down, like what TV deals are coming up. Like, I don't know the intricacies of that, but that's
sponsors bailing has to be a major red flag. You pull out AT&T and Wells Fargo, and there was another big one from the West Coast swing. I forget who it was.
Oh yeah.
But at any rate, these are huge companies that have been long-standing partners and sponsors of the PGA Tour that have now said that's not worth it.
And then if you're a new sponsor, what are you thinking when you got a company like Honda who's been with you through the thick and thin, and you tell them you thumb your nose at them because they want a signature event after hosting you for 50 fucking years? Oh, so what are you going to do to me? I'm Mr. New guy on the block. God knows how you're going to treat me. Peter Monahan is so I particularly don't like this guy because he was an exec in a company I used to work for. And he just
Jay Monahan,
and he kept failing up. And he eventually got let go of the company. And when he landed at the PGA, my mind was blown. I was like, you have to kid me. This guy's a moron. Like, he just hit a triple, born on third base, thought he hit a triple, was inept at his job at the company I worked for, and somehow just keeps fucking winning. It's amazing.
It's amazing, man. What do you got going on the rest of this week with you and Steve? When's your show out?
We'll do a live show Wednesday night, Tuesday TBD. Haselbauer was going to come on to fill in for Steve, but he's got a Knicks game. I don't know why he cares. The Celtics are just going to roll him anyway. And then I don't know. So maybe reach out to CP or Cam. I'll have somebody on. But yeah, we'll be chopping it up, talking about this event. I think Matt already did his DFS show, and then me and Steve will do the live show, which is fun. Steve does these like really in-depth like Google Earth breakdowns, which is
of live
awesome.
courses.
I just sit there and watch. Yeah, like all of them. Yeah, just goes through them all. He's great. You know him. He's a golf nerd.
He's into the data. All right, man. At Boston_Capper on Twitter. Give my boy a follow. At Golf Gambling Pod is where you can check out all their shows and the rest of their work. Thanks for coming on Preferred Lines, dude. Good luck this week. Maybe we'll get a winner. Maybe we won't. We'll see. We'll talk.
All right, Giuseppe. Appreciate it.
Later, buddy. All right, gang. Good to talk to Capper. Saw him in Jacksonville. Great host. Met him. Met his wife. Met his boy. Pete. Me and CP, we had a nice little night over there with our guy Tybo as well. It was good time. So good to see him as always. Listen, final thoughts before I get out of here. So this is going to be a little bit of a different one. I would like you to leave me a comment about this because I'm playing golf on Sunday and word is starting to I don't want to act like it's a big deal, but like people that I play golf with at the club are starting to now realize that I host a golf podcast, and they're obviously into golf. They've got a golf membership, right? So they're talking about it. They're asking me questions about it. They want to know about it. They're subscribing. They're trying to download it and give it a shot. And I had two of them ask me this question on the same day separately. Didn't hear each other ask it, but they're like, kind of in a nice way, but they're like, is the show successful? And I didn't really know how to answer that because successful to who? Successful to them who are wealthy businessmen or maybe completely well off and near retirement? What do I tell them? What's their marker for success? Is it the same as mine? Probably not. I would like to think it is, but I don't really know a hardened reason as to exactly why I think that. So my question to you who have viewed this show, and I appreciate each and every one of you for checking out this show every week. I know a lot of people that are here at this point in the show are here every week at this point of the show. So why is this show successful? And what makes it successful? Is it the people who watch and the relationship that I'm able to form with the audience that catches this show? Is it the picks? Is it the different guests that I have on? I would like to sort of know from you and help me to answer that question. I hope each and every one of you have a fantastic week. Thank you for checking out Preferred Lines. On behalf of myself and the entire Rotoballer PGA team, that show is up next. The Model Maniac and Spencer Aguiar are much more detail-oriented than I am. I'll tell you that. So check that show out on the Rotoballer PGA Twitter account. It's coming up right after this show. Go take a pee break. Get yourself another drink. The boys are ready to roll. Thanks again. Have a great week. I appreciate each and every one of you. A like and a subscribe. As always, goes a heck of a long way on the way out of here. We'll talk soon. This has been Preferred Lines. Good luck. Peace.